Hello, I'm Ryan Smith, technology journalist here at UC Today. Joining me is Jane White, the product marketing manager at Soprano. Today we're going to be discussing the best practices to protect your organization from being a victim of cybercrime, in particular fraud. Welcome, Jane. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm doing really well. Thanks for talking to me about this really important topic today.
Great. So we'll jump straight on into it. And can you tell us, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges that organizations face when trying to prevent fraud?
I think that answer is really multifaceted, but just from a high level, fraud is very difficult to protect against because it's always changing. We have seen so many flavors of the month of fraud, especially when it comes to mobile fraud and cybercrime, because technology evolves so quickly. And every time the technology evolves or moves into a new phase, vulnerabilities open up, and then the cyber criminals that are out there looking for those vulnerabilities, they level up their fraud schemes, they change things, they organize better. So one of the things we're seeing, for example, is previously we had a lot of one-to-one attacks with smishing or social engineering or phishing. And now there's a lot more one-to-many attacks where a scam artist or a cybercrime organization working as a team will engineer their way into a system and then smish from that system, like a messaging system, an entire group of people, like millions of people within an audience in a system. So we're always seeing fraud leveling up. We're seeing it change all the time. And so in the business of security, we always have to stay ahead and be constantly future-proofing and proactively looking for those next major types of fraud to protect against.
Obviously, you mentioned there, Soprano is in the business of security and secure messaging. You guys deal with a whole range of industries. We're talking everything from government to healthcare and everything that comes with that. So obviously, these are industries that need a very secure sort of network and a top level of protection against cybercrime. And can you just talk me through some of the key features that Soprano offers to prevent things like fraud?
Absolutely. I think I would preface my answer by just making a note that we at Soprano serve enterprise customers. And when you're doing that thing I mentioned in the last question, constantly evolving your technology and constantly looking for the next flavor of fraud, what you're going to end up doing and seeing with these larger enterprises like large hospitals, large banks, it's more difficult to quickly evolve. So when you have a strong technology partner that is able to help you forecast major themes and fraud trends, then you're going to have a better chance of protecting the massive amounts of customer data, your reputation, all of those things that are extra high stakes for enterprise customers in these critical industries. So at Soprano, we have a sort of two-pronged approach to security. And I kind of use a metaphor to describe like why we look at security in this way. And it's that we look at security as a question of scale and also compliance. So those are two buckets of features and things that we build and promote as a assurance that we're going to be a secure platform for these large enterprise customers. And the metaphor I use is you really can imagine in the security world, the compliance side is you have a big moat around a castle. You might have a dragon protecting the castle. You might have a bunch of foot soldiers, between the outer wall and the inner wall of the castle, right? So that's your compliance, your security measures to protect from attacks. But the castle itself isn't really secure or safe if the floors are, weak, if the roofs and the balconies are decrepit, if the stairwells are steep and have no hand railings, So having that strong scale and infrastructure is so important, especially if there's a lot of people living in the castle. And to extend the metaphor, when you're a company like Soprano and you have some of the largest messaging deployments in the world for industries like healthcare and finance, you need to make extra sure that your castle is rock solid, the infrastructure is there, you can scale it, and however many people you have walking up and down the stairs, bouncing around on the floors and balconies, you're safe. So two parts to that security question. And so with our actual security product, we have one of the best availability rates, we have redundancy, we have all kinds of infrastructure-based security measures so that no matter how many people you have coming through the castle, if you're one of those companies that has some of the largest deployments of mobile messaging in the world, you have to be extra sure that that structure is safe. And all of the things that we do to make sure that we can reliably pass that traffic through our platform is very much part of the question of security. We have one of the best network connectivity platforms, connected platforms through network connectivity in the entire world. Also, on the compliance side, this is where the dragon and the moat and the foot soldiers come in. So here we're talking about all the things we do to prevent attacks. So that's like IP access control, hierarchy, two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, all of those things that just secure the castle. And then also, I would say that this is something that we're doing which kind of exceeds beyond compliance, because it's less about protecting the castle and more about protecting like the entire serfdom. And that is that we now have launched a fraud detection and prevention API. So that means that when somebody has a compromised device, whether through SIM swapping or roaming intercept fraud or call forwarding or some other kind of singular fraud on a consumer's device, we're enabling our partners and our customers to help protect them from potentially like receiving a one-time password on a device that's now in the hands of a fraudster, right? So we're going that extra step to be proactive to protect the customers of our customers as a service to them as well.
Great stuff. And obviously you just touched on it a little bit there, but why should organizations come to Soprano to help them prevent fraud and other types of cybercrime?
There's so many ways to expand on this answer, and I did touch on it a second ago, but I would say that everybody needs to look for a partner who has a holistic view of the vulnerabilities in their communication chains. So it's not just about protecting with, strong passwords and, single sign-on or multi-factor authentication your own systems, but you need to work with people whose network carrier partners are reliable and have good reputations and are secure. You also want to work with an orchestrator who wants to help you protect your customers, because even if it's not your fault, if a one-time password goes to the phone of somebody who's had their SIM card swapped, you're still doing a service to those people and protecting yourself in a way when you take that proactive step and then protect your customers. It's not just an added value, it also can circle back when we see these one-to-many attacks onto the reputation of the company, onto customer satisfaction, customer experience. And to really have that strong protection, you want to look at the end recipient of the message, the orchestrator, yourself, the mobile network operator handling the traffic. All of those parts of the communication chain are critical to ensuring that enhanced security, especially like I mentioned at the very beginning of this conversation, when cyber criminals are leveling up constantly and now doing a lot more one-to-many attacks through organized cyber criminal organizations.
Great stuff. Well, Jane, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really, really insightful. Please don't forget to like and share this video. I'm Ryan Smith from UC Today. Thanks for watching.